Hello everyone, how you going, and welcome back to DIY, the place where, well, what can I say besides I hope you have the eye bleach ready. You know, some of these posts will leave you a little bit, maybe a little bit on edge, a little bit in the need of some surgery for some new eyes or something like that. I mean, to give it to the creators of some of these posts, some of them are alright and kind of cool in a way, but most of them are just like, really, DIY? Why did you do this? Well, let's jump straight into it. Starting off with this lampshade is made of cassettes and zip ties. I mean, if this isn't exactly what I just described about, I actually think some of them are kind of cool. You know, I guess it is a little bit DIY, why did you do it? But I reckon this is more so along the lines of awful taste with great execution, and even then I don't even think it's that awful taste. I reckon it actually would really fit in some, I don't know, funky cafes or something, some really modern kind of architectural homes or whatnot. If it was some ugly black cable ties, or I don't know, if it was done in a not kind of particularly aesthetic way, then I can certainly see how it would be DIY. But really, look, they've taken the time, they've done all the crisscross patterns, gone around the corner, everything looks symmetrical, and it certainly doesn't seem as though it's falling down. So I don't know, I actually kind of like it. I can only imagine that the light is going to be pretty sparse, but I guess if it's kind of a light shade and not actually kind of enclosing the light, that's going to be alright, because it stops the light from going externally. And even then, if it's kind of what you're after, you're going to get a few different spots of color and whatnot in there because of all that. Look, you got the red and the black and the little bit of blue and white and yellow. You got all the different colors in there, so it makes sense. So I don't know, I reckon you could find something like this in a retro inspired modern home, if that makes any sense. You know, it's probably cost, I don't know, $3,000 lampshade or something ridiculous. I'm sure in that case the cable ties wouldn't be real cable ties, it would somehow be woven together in some other way, or at least it just wouldn't be marketed as being held together with cable ties. But I still reckon there's an entire market out there for something like this, because I just reckon that's cool. Let me know what you guys think. Am I just completely weird? You know, starting off the DIY post, we're going, yes, this is great, but I don't know. I reckon that's just pretty cool. I saw this on the local Facebook marketplace. Lucky Charms ashtray made with real Lucky Charms preserved in resin. I feel as though that is the new kind of, I don't know what to call it, but the new just motto and mantra of this you know, is encasing things in resin. You know, actually last time I looked at this one of the ones that I remember sticking out to me is a hot dog encased in resin. And so, you know, I've seen tables and all sorts of things. So depending on how well it's been done resin wise, and I don't really know how the Lucky Charms stay in there in terms of preserving or whatnot, but I don't know, once again, I reckon there is a market for this. Unlike the last post, I'm certainly not in this market. You know, for one, I'm not a smoker, and for two, you know, Lucky Charms, and yeah, it's just none of that is really for me. But this seems like something you would get in a gag gift, or I don't know, something just completely random that you would get for $2, $5, $10, and $15, and give to a random friend as a cheap Christmas present or something ridiculous. Because, you know, something like this comes with his history as well. Someone sat their hand making it, who knows how they got the shape right. And so the fact that it is actually $10, or I guess $13.50 if you want to get it shipped to you, that sounds like a steal. I think my favorite part is just the fact that they actually included the Lucky Charms logo there. You know, I have actually never had Lucky Charms. I'm fairly sure it's a super American thing, so it's not even a thing that exists here. But I can only imagine that that is the logo, and it's as though they've just cut it out of a cardboard box or something, just stuck it in the resin, as well as all of the actual charms themselves. And hey, I guess there are some very, very weird collectors out there, and so maybe there's a Lucky Charms collector, and this is right up their alley in terms of what they would want to buy. Again, there's a market for everything if you just know how to market it. Guess someone actually watches 5-Minute Crafts. I mean, I'm fairly sure a lot of people watch 5-Minute Crafts. Have you seen the amount of views they get? Let's have a look. 5-Minute Crafts, first thing when you type up 5, 70 million subscribers, 300, 600, 2.31, a mil, you know, like 14 million a week ago. They know what they're doing. They get plenty of views. But anyway, we'll get back to the other girl. Now, I don't really know what's going on here, but from my powers of deduction, I feel as though maybe she's wearing a pair of underpants as a top. Now, in order to make that to work, I imagine you have to cut a hole in the kind of bottom of the crotch and then be able to slip it over. It certainly seems as though the dress attire would fit a certain demographic of people, so to say. In Australia, you might call them bogans. You know, you got whatever that is, maybe a hat, you got the vape, you know, not the ciggy, but the vape. You know, these bogans are moving up in the world, they're getting classy. But no, it's certainly not really a good look to be wearing a pair of underpants upside down, you know, Superman style with nothing else on. It's just so random that someone would even go, yeah, that's what I'm going to wear. Stuff going and buying something from the shops, you know, I'm just going to chop a hole in my undies and I'll be all good to go for the day. You know, to add to the whole thing, just this nice big tramp stamp triangle tattoo. Oh, like, it just completes the look, doesn't it? So maybe we've just figured out where all the 5-Minute Crafts views come from. You know, as we saw, they get plenty of views as is, and now we've figured out the root of the cause, where people that just can't be bothered going to the shops or doing this or doing that look up, oh, how can I make this or this? Usually it's hot glue, cement, or I guess chopping clothes apart. But people are sitting there going, there has to be another way to do it, and this is the kind of stuff we end up with. So I mean, if that's what she wants to do, go for it. I certainly wouldn't see myself walking around like that, and I really hope that it's not a fashion sense that catches on too quickly or at all. But hey, if you want to reduce, reuse, recycle, and maybe hopefully they're not, you know, got a little bit of brown involved in there, hopefully that's out of the picture, then go for it. Do whatever you want. And like I said, hot glue. With some hot glue, tiny babies, and a lot of time, you get a baby tree. Now, isn't this post just a perfect segue from what I was just talking about with hot glue, cement, and ripping stuff apart? They've just got, I don't know, what, 300 miniature babies or whatever, and just hot glue them into a tree, because why not? That is just what DIY is about, you know? It's just basically a why not subreddit. I'm honestly often very surprised about how creative people can be on this subreddit. You know, like, why and where did this idea come from? It's a completely horrific idea, and it makes no sense, and like I said, it would have taken a long time to do. But if that's your project for the month, I mean, at least it keeps you busy, if nothing else. I don't think I really want to know what else you do in your free time, you know? Again, this is a kind of certain demographic of people, and that is completely different to bogans. This is kind of more the psychopath realm. Even the fact that it looks like they've taken the time and the liberty to go and paint on hair and whatnot, unless that's how they come, but it kind of looks so, I don't know, hand done with a Sharpie, that I really don't see how it could be done with a machine. I mean, but to give it to whoever created this, if you really squint your eyes, it really does look like a tree. It's kind of almost looks as though it's yet to be painted, as though it's one of those models, or I don't know what to call them, but I've seen them come with like Lord of the Rings sets where the people create entire kind of game board kingdom. I don't know how to describe it. Kind of like a set piece that is yet to be painted. I'm sure the person that made this has no intentions of going any further because they made it for a reason, but surely they can paint it just to put us out of our misery. You know, spice it up, give it a bit of color, and hopefully hide the horrific things that have happened to all these little dolls. Ooh, another one, infuriating resin ashtray. Making resin ashtrays just must be the thing of the month, you know, and then you sell them on Facebook Marketplace. Had some dirt lying around with a tree emoji because why not? Decided to add it to the resin. Yeah, that's what you do. That doesn't even look like dirt. That just looks like, I don't know, crushed up leaves or something. If you showed me that, I certainly wouldn't say it's dirt, but I guess we'll just leave this person to be and call it dirt. But again, I can't really knock the craftsmanship on this, you know? Look at this. It looks as though it's been well formed. You got a nice sharp edge. I don't even know how you do this little groove here. Really, it's just impressive that people are getting all these ashtrays that actually look like ashtrays. I feel as though if I tried to make a mold for resin, I wouldn't even know where to start. Maybe there's a 5-minute crafts on how to make it as an ashtray or something like that, and that's where everyone's getting it from. But I feel as though I would just have no idea where to start, and it would just turn out horribly. Where these people, besides their kind of personal touch, they're actually getting functional items out of it. I mean, everything I said for the last one also applies over to here, but I feel as though out of the two, you know, I wasn't too keen on the Lucky Charms, and this one, because I think it's leaves instead of dirt, I reckon I would take this one. Whether somehow it's actually coming up really well on camera and it would have come up horribly in person, who knows? But I just feel as though the Lucky Charms is a little bit over the top. This one's a little bit more low-key, and it kind of could just blend in. Like I said before, I'm certainly not a smoker, and I actually tend to run away from it as every possible opportunity I get, but I've certainly seen ashtrays that look worse than that. And even once a few cigarettes have had their ash tapped out into an ashtray, it basically looks like that anyway. So compared to the Lucky Charms, I'm definitely taking this one if I have to pick. I reckon I'll leave the Lucky Charms ashtray to someone who's a real collector. No toilets around, just take a poo in the park while kids watch. Oh, here we go. This certainly looks like a 5-minute craft style thing. Here we go. What has she got? Wait, why does she just have a Stanley knife just around? Oh my goodness, I can actually see where this is going. What am I watching right now? Oh my goodness, no toilets around. Oh, what? I know in the video they certainly didn't specify either way, but I reckon the title actually put your mind towards number 2 more than number 1. I think the video is certainly more catered towards number 1. I don't see anyone actually taking that seriously as a number 2 kind of situation. Whether it's a number 1 situation, maybe it's debatable. That certainly is a bit weird, I guess to say, but at least there's a little bit less mess involved, I imagine. Again, just why she has a Stanley knife just casually in a top, who knows? It looks as though it's broad daylight. I certainly don't think you need to be carrying any kind of, I don't know, concealed weaponry around. And then just the fact that she's carrying around a chair, an umbrella, and a shower curtain, just generally everywhere she goes, just in this case. But no, I guess like the title said, it would be quite a strange thing to see someone setting this up. You're going, what are they doing? Are they kind of setting up a tent? Are they camping out there for the night? Why is it just a single chair? What's going on? And then about 5 minutes later, they emerge and start taking it down, and you go, hang on, I just saw you put it up and now you're taking it back down, and then what's going on here? Hopefully there isn't a bit of steam rising from where they just were. When you like being seen while you take a shower. Oh yes, the classic tiled windows. I don't know if we're sitting on DIY or crappy design or for taste with great execution. You know, there's just so many places that this could fit. Or perhaps maybe I've just seen it on my own, but I have seen it before and it is a very strange thing to have. But on the other hand, at least this one just is in your bathroom, not like the last post which was just out in the middle of the park. Even though you have a whole bunch of people just staring at you out their window, it's all just fake and photography. So I feel as though it really just knocks it down a few pegs. If that's kind of what you're into, and even though they said, what do they say? When you like to to be seen while you take a shower, yeah, it's not really like you to be seen. It's more like you being watched maybe, or just kind of generally gazed upon. Maybe it'd be great for some people's egos, you know, like, oh, look at all these eyes on me. I've never had this much attention, you know? But no, I actually do look at it as more of an art piece, especially when you look at that bottom photo and you kind of do see how it is almost a block of apartments or something. The shower walls just do really give that 3D perspective of how a building would look. So I don't know, I kind of do like it as a perspective artwork kind of situation. I certainly wouldn't get it as a bathroom installation, but if I was in an art gallery and I saw something like that, I feel as though I'd certainly go over and have a look at what's going on there. And hey, if nothing else, while you're in the shower, you can at least play a little game with yourself and try and find the creepiest person that looks out their window. Spaghetti balls. Oh, another Facebook one. My wife made these special Italian style Christmas spaghetti ornaments. They're fairly cheap at $5 each. Let me know if you're interested. Thanks. They're sealed in epoxy. They won't smell. Well, I guess this really holds up to the point I was making before about how well will epoxy seal in stuff. Because, you know, Lucky Charms is one thing, but if you're completely sealing in spaghetti and not expecting it to go moldy, that is just impressive. But again, I just have no idea where the inspiration comes for something like this and how they even go about making such things. You know, if it was a water balloon contraption, I could see how that would work, but how do you get the spaghetti in there and then epoxy it around? Does it have to be super finely polished? Or there's so many questions around this epoxy. And also, you know, spaghetti's not light, so I can only imagine that they have some serious heft to them. You're going to need one hell of a tree branch to not just break off when you put this bauble on. And I guess the other really good thing is that all the Facebook Marketplace things have been actually, I would say, fairly priced. It's not as though this person's out here going, oh yes, $100 for my spaghetti ornaments, you know, one of a kind, never to be seen again, got 4,000 views in the last hour. No, they're priced at only $5 each. You know, if you're at a restaurant, there's probably $5 worth of spaghetti in each one of those. They look as though they're a decent size. So really, I guess I just hope they're sold, because that is someone's blood, sweat and tears that they've poured into these things. They've got 100 reacts and 200 comments, so hopefully someone was let me know if you're interested. Trying to fashion a face mask out of a bra. Oh, we have kind of a meta one. Obviously, we can see whatever the kind of 5-minute crafts knockoff video is up the top, and it seems to work perfectly. I mean, of course it would. And then down the bottom, we get to see the outcome of what happens when it just isn't exactly the same. You know, you mustn't have just followed the recipe or the instructions to the same. But actually, I reckon I can see what happened here. You seem to follow the recipe correctly, you just had the wrong ingredients. So of course, from the start, it wasn't going to work. You know, you have to have this exact one right here. The fact that you got this one and not this one is going to make for a little bit of an inconsistency in the recipe. Why this is needed, I really have no idea. I feel as though this is a lot of hassle unless you're trying to reuse, reduce, recycle, like I've said in a couple of other posts. I mean, if you're trying to do that, in an attempt to give something a second life that would otherwise be going to the bin, I mean, go for it. But I just feel as though there are plenty of other workarounds to make you not have to do this, you know. I think there are, what are they called? Oh, face masks. But no, I'm glad we have a kind of meta situation here where they can really just show you kind of the stupidity of what's going on up top. Obviously, it's not going to work for everyone unless you actually go out and buy that one particular size that fits your face. I mean, I guess if you want to try and scrounge for any kind of positivity, at least you're getting 2 out of every bra. But no, like always, I'm just astounded about how creatively stupid people can be. Really? Why? What am I looking at? Don't tell me that is for an egg. That is, oh my goodness. Like the title said, really and why? I feel as though for all the other posts I've been able to kind of figure out why, whether it be an ashtray or even the last one trying to be a face mask. But I'm just completely stumped with this one and why this would ever even be thought of as being needed to be a thing. Who needs to be able to carry an egg? Not eggs, but an egg on their belt. And also, I don't know if it's made of metal or something, but if that's made of plastic, I feel as though if you fall over, that is going to break no matter what. There's just no way that you're going to be able to protect the egg that well, regardless of whatever personalized enclosure it has. Really thinking about it, I'm just disappointed that it's not lined up around the entire belt like an ammo belt or something like that. You know, you could probably just have quick access to about 2 dozen eggs if you just had them all the way around the belt. You know, call me crazy for thinking of such things, but if you're gonna do it, you might as well go the whole hog, let's be honest. So really now, just looking at this one egg, I'm just disappointed. I just want to see him speed fill his entire belt, just go bang, 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 bang. I don't care if they're hard boiled, soft boiled, not boiled at all. I just want to see that belt full of eggs, and whether it be for lunch or ammo, I don't care. I just want to see an entire egg belt and see someone strutting down the street and going, what's that smell? Oh, it's my egg belt. And hey, we always have to find a positive for whatever is posted on DIY. And for this one, I'm going to say that it's the fact that the model at least has their face hidden so that no one has to know that they wore that random thing there. I don't know, it seems a little excessive to me. Oh, good lord, it's a 2.5 minute video. We're definitely going to be skipping through here. Okay, so So we seem to have some aluminium. Okay, we're making a ball bearing kind of thing. Okay, so that's a whole gear mechanism. What are we looking at? We're skipping through. We've got a motor driven system. We're making wood chocks. We're hammering it into the wood. Really, skipping through, this is an insane build. Look, they've got a full industrial metal lathe and they're making bolts. What is going on? Oh yeah, no worries, just grind down the bolt that you just made nice and flush. Yeah, no worries, just tying it down to the electric motor, connect up the ends, solder it on, connect it to a power supply, and do what? What is it meant to do? Oh my goodness, that is ludicrous. I don't know how powerful that thing is, but that also looks quite dangerous. That seemed to crack those nuts open like nothing. So you certainly wouldn't want to get your finger anywhere near there, but my goodness, a 2.5 minute video. Look at that. I didn't even see that before. They have an entire stencil they put on the top of the aluminium. This is probably the most involved DIY I have ever seen. From all the metalworking that we see at the start and having to get the motor and then making this piece, putting it all together, drilling it in, making all the wood pieces, even down to the fact like having some of these machines, an entire metal lathe, just who has that lying around? I always think of DIY as being able to be done at home, and I certainly don't think of many people that have a metal lathe at home. I mean, I can't hate on it too much because I always think that these kind of contraptions are cool, and if someone spent all that time making it, well, go for it. It might be a little bit over the top, but they're certainly not hurting anyone, or at least they're not yet. This finger seemed to get very close to that mechanism, but I'm like trying to sell random objects to people. This could just be a kind of a little hobby project for however long. So yeah, I completely agree that it's completely over the top and excessive, and like always, I don't understand where the inspiration for this comes from, but out of all of the posts we've seen so far, I reckon it's actually my favorite because I am a bit of a sucker for this kind of engineering stuff, so maybe my opinion's biased, whatever. Anyway, I don't disagree that it's over the top, but I still don't think it's fully DIY. And so the top of DIY for the month is, this is so stupid, I'm actually mad right now. Now, I always think that the best DIY posts are the ones I don't understand, and I really don't understand what I am looking at here. I obviously know what its function is, and that is to hold plates and cups and whatnot, but how it was made and why it was made just is what? You know, generally on DIY, people are trying to improve their lives. Like the last one, they wanted a nutcracker, and the other ones, they want an ashtray, or whatever it may be. But this just seems as though you're going to lose all your plates and cups in one foul swoop. You know, if you unload the wrong thing and then it becomes unbalanced and it just topples over, I don't care how much foam you have, some of them are going to break. It's honestly just baffling to me that it's even staying up at all. Because from the way that these legs are bowing, it doesn't look as though they're supported at all. And then you can kind of see that it's got all these layers in here. So what this was cut from, I have no idea, whether it be a mattress or where do you get a big foam piece like that. But yeah, the why part of the DIY is really just the most prominent here because it just doesn't seem as though it's going to be in any way more functional or aesthetically pleasing or anything than what you already had. Even if you had nothing and you just had milk crates, surely that's going to be at least easier. You're not going to worry about it falling over. And milk crates, when they're stacked up, don't even look that bad, especially when we're comparing it to this. I mean, I guess I have to commend them on their efforts to try and make it look like a piece of furniture in terms of the shape, but everything else about it just makes me go, why? I feel as though something like this has been made for some random Pinterest post. You know, they made it, they put all these just unwanted cups in there, or just ones they bought and we're going to chuck out anyway. They took the photo and just got rid of it. There is just no way that anyone is seriously living with that thing in their house. I just do not believe it. You cannot convince me otherwise. And so I guess on that point, it makes sense why it is the top of DIY. I just refuse to believe and cannot fathom why it's a thing. And so yeah, that's going to be the top of DIY for the month. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please do the YouTube analytical things down below. Other than that, I've been posting a lot of these videos, so maybe you want to check some of the other ones out. You know, we see plenty of posts all around the world that could certainly fit on this sub, so make sure you go check that out now. Or maybe just want to consider subscribing so don't miss another one in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.